All right, let's pull back the curtain on the shadow economy that powers some of the biggest cyber attacks out there. We're going to go inside the world of the corporate hackers you've probably never heard of, the initial access brokers.
I mean, we've all seen the headlines, right? Some huge company, a hospital, maybe even a whole city, and then bam, all their data is encrypted, they're completely locked out, and there's a massive ransom demand staring them in the face. It feels like this digital hostage crisis that just materializes out of thin air.
But that begs the real question. How do these attackers actually get in? We have this image in our heads of a hacker in a hoodie just furiously typing code to smash through some digital wall. But what if I told you that's, well, mostly a movie fantasy now? The truth is, a lot of these high-profile ransomware gangs, they don't really break in at all. They pretty much just walk right through an unlocked door. A door that was unlocked for them and then sold to them by a totally different kind of criminal. And that brings us to these unseen architects, the master keymakers of the cybercrime world.
They're called initial access brokers, or IABs for short. Now, think of them this way. They're not the crew that robs the bank. They're the specialists who figure out how to get a perfect copy of the key to the vault. Their entire job is to get that first foothold inside a company's network. And then, this is the important part, they stop. They don't deploy any malware. They just package up that access and sell it to the highest bidder.
Okay, so how are they getting these keys in the first place? Well, they have a pretty standard and effective bag of tricks.
A lot of the time, they're hunting for known software bugs. Vulnerabilities in a firewall or a VPN that a company just hasn't patched yet. Or they'll just buy massive lists of stolen usernames and passwords and see which ones work. Classic phishing attacks are always in the mix too. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sometimes they even buy their access from other, lower-level criminals. It's a whole specialized economy.
So, an IAB has the keys to a corporate kingdom. Now what? Well, they need a place to sell it. And for that, they head to the bustling marketplaces of the darknet. And this right here, this is what it actually looks like in the wild. This is a real screenshot from a criminal forum. You can see a user is literally auctioning off access to 5 different companies. The whole thing is set up just like you'd see on eBay. It's wild. And get this, the starting bid is $800. This isn't some theoretical threat, it's a real transactional market with actual price tags. Now, of course, that's just the starting price. For really valuable access to a big company, these auctions can go for tens of thousands of dollars. So why do this? Why not just launch the ransomware attack themselves? Well, this quote from a forum member spells it out perfectly. It's a business decision. They do the quiet, technical work of getting in, and then they cash out. They leave the noisy, high-risk work of deploying ransomware to their customers. It's a way to make money while staying out of the spotlight. And this really gets to the heart of the problem, this direct pipeline that's been built between the brokers and the ransomware gangs. What we're really watching is the professionalization of cybercrime. It's not one group doing everything anymore. It's a full-blown supply chain. You have different specialists for each stage of the attack, which makes the whole ecosystem more efficient, more resilient, and a heck of a lot harder to stop. So let's just walk through the workflow. First, the IAB gets into a network. Second, they sell that access in an auction. Third, a ransomware operator, maybe one that leases out its malware, buys the key. And finally, the ransomware gets deployed, and the victim gets that awful ransom note. By then, the IAB who started it all is long gone.
It's really a symbiotic relationship when you think about it. The ransomware gangs need a steady stream of new victims, and the IABs need buyers for their product. They just feed each other, creating this really vicious cycle.
But this underground economy is not operating without a fight. Law enforcement all over the world is pushing back, and they're getting smarter.
It's become a genuine high-tech arms race. For every tool the criminals use, law enforcement develops a countermeasure. Criminals use the Tor network to hide. Investigators have their own special tools to unmask them. Criminals use crypto to get paid. Agencies have blockchain analysis to follow the money. It's a constant cat-and-mouse game. And these strategies are really working. Investigators are meticulously tracing crypto payments, like how the FBI recovered millions in the Colonial Pipeline case. They're seizing the servers that host these darknet markets. And crucially, they're all collaborating globally because a server in Germany and a criminal in Russia requires a coordinated response. And we've all seen the results.
The takedowns of massive markets like Alphabet and Hansa sent a clear message that online anonymity is not absolute. The Hansa bust was particularly brilliant. After Alphabet was seized, all the criminals fled to Hansa, not realizing Dutch police were secretly running the site for a month, just collecting data. What a move.
Which leads us to the final, critical question. We've seen how cybercrime has evolved from lone hackers into this professional, specialized supply chain, with initial access brokers acting as a key link. So, as these criminal enterprises start to look more and more like legitimate businesses, can the global alliance of defenders evolve fast enough to break that chain for good?